Hi there, my name is David Scott. I'm a music producer from South Africa. I make music for a band called The Kiffness, which consists of my brother and myself. We make electronic music. I've made the music for quite a few adverts and documentaries. Whether you produce hip-hop, electronic music, music for documentaries or whatever it is, these are a few guidelines as to what you'll need if you're serious about producing music and you want to make music at a high level. So this is aimed at beginners, people who want to make music but they're not really sure how to do it. Welcome to this episode of my survivor's guide to producing music. Firstly, I recommend that you get yourself a MacBook or a MacBook Pro. Macs are reliable, they do not crash, end of story. Get yourself a Mac. Now secondly, with your Mac, you're going to need some pretty decent audio software, or otherwise known as DAWs. DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. There's some pretty good DAWs out there. Pro Tools seems to be the industry standard. What I use is a program called Logic Pro, which is also really good. You can get yourself Ableton Live. I don't recommend Fruity Loops, although it does have its advantages, but it's not industry standard. Thirdly, you're going to need to get yourself a MIDI controller, which looks like this. It looks like a keyboard, but it actually doesn't make any noise at all. What it does is it sends MIDI messages via USB to the computer. So I've got my MIDI controller here. I'm just going to plug it down on the table. As you can see, the USB cable is running all the way into the laptop. So I've loaded up 3 instruments in Logic Pro. Logic Pro has all kinds of instruments that you can play around with. So I've got a drum kit over here. I can play the drums or the piano, or some kind of synth, and I can use this kind of thing to do cool effects. And there's your MIDI controller, setting MIDI messages into the computer, and then you can record those and you're good to go. But now you want to record yourself. So to record yourself, you're going to need to get yourself a sound card. I've got myself a Focusrite Sapphire 6 USB. Now what a sound card does is it allows you to take a microphone, plug it into your sound card, record yourself. Here's my sound card. I'm just going to quickly show you how it works. I speak into the microphone, gets converted into a digital signal through the USB cable into my computer, and that's how it works. Ooh yeah 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 yeah. 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 Ooh yeah yeah. Now obviously with your sound card, you're going to need a decent microphone. Now this is an SM58. Yo 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 yo. It is very nice. This microphone can be used on your voice, on instruments, all kinds of things. And you can also get yourself an SM57, which is better for instruments and that kind of thing. Another thing is when you're recording, you're bound to say something with a P or a B in it. Now the problem with P's and B's is that they explode into the microphone, giving you that pa, 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 pa. So obviously when you're recording in studio, you don't want that. So what you need is one of these. And what this is a pop filter. Ba, 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 pa, pa, pa. Big difference. Now you can make these very cheaply. As you can see, I've taken a wire and just made a circle and then put a stocking over it. You can buy them if you're lazy. So you're recording yourself, but obviously you're going to need to hear the track behind you. And you can't have the sound coming through the speakers because that's going to bleed through into the microphone and you don't want that. So I recommend you get yourself some decent headphones. When you're singing into the microphone, the sound can come from the headphones and go into the microphone. and you don't want that. So you need pretty good isolation of the sound. Make sure it stays in your ears, and then you can record. Now, a big no-no is mixing with your headphones. It's a big mistake that I made in my earlier years of producing music. I used to do a lot of my mixing on my headphones, and then when I listened on the speakers it sounded terrible, and I never understood why. It's because the frequencies respond differently in headphones than they do in real life. Now, if you want a good mix in your sound, you're going to need to mix with very good monitors or speakers. Now, the difference between normal speakers, hi-fi speakers, and studio speakers is that hi-fi speakers tend to have boosted frequencies in certain sections, giving you that hi-fi sound. But when you're mixing in the studio, you're going to need speakers that have a flat frequency response, so that the bass and the treble isn't boosted. You're getting a true representation of how the sound is. It's also a good idea to reference your material. So when I'm done mixing on my studio monitors, I'll see how they sound on a hi-fi, I'll see how it sounds in my car, and often it will sound great on studio monitors but then really bad on hi-fi speakers, or vice versa. And lastly, the acoustics of a room play a big role in how your end product will sound. A good way to test if the acoustics of a room is okay is just by clapping around a room. And if you hear weird echoes, it's not a good sign. Kitchen is not a good place. You must dampen the room as much as you can with pillows and curtains and whatnot. You want the sound to get diffused as much as possible. Obviously, we all can't afford studio acoustics, but a great way to get a good sound is just to put a blanket over your head when you're recording, and that way you get a dead room sound. Oh baby, baby, how was I supposed to know? So I hope that this video has been useful to you in some way. Please let me know if you learned anything, or if you have any video responses that you'd like to show me. Otherwise, please check out my music on SoundCloud. It's soundcloud.com/thekiffness. I upload all my music there for you to listen to and download. Otherwise, you can check me on Facebook under The Kiffness. And I look forward to hearing from you.